Good morning and welcome to Chumash and Rashi, the Torah portion. Torah portion, the final one of the book of Bereshis, of Genesis. Yaakov Avinu, Jacob, is on his deathbed, and he's giving blessings now to the grandsons, the sons of Yosef, Menashe and Ephraim. And yesterday we left off that Menashe, the older one, was placed to the right hand of Yaakov, the left side, right hand, and Ephraim, the younger one, on the left. So the right hand would go on the older son for him to bless. But Yaakov crossed his hands and put his hand on the younger one. Really short. And that's where we are. That's where we are. And he gives him a blessing. Yar Yosef. So Yosef saw this, right? Kiyashi Savi. Excuse me. What did he see? Kiyashi Savi, and his father placed Yad Yamina, his right hand, al Reish Ephraim, on the head of Ephraim, the younger son, Yar Be'enav, and he was displeased. Excuse me, oi. When I get this, he was displeased about that. So he took the support of Yad Aviv, of the hand of his father, Lahasir, to remove it. I saw, right? That was supported on the head of Ephraim, Mi'al Reish Ephraim, from upon the head of Ephraim, Al Reish Menashe, and to place it on the head of Menashe, right, at the right hand. Right? Rashi, Yismech Yad Aviv. So he took the support, others, he lifted it up. Herimai, Mi'al Reish, he lifted it up from the head, Benoi, of his son, Usmacha b'yadei, and he supported it on his hand. Right. Because just to the precision over here to appreciate, that he supported, literally it means he supported the hand of his father to remove it. Right. So Rashi's just explained to me, he lifted it. How did he support it? By lifting it. In other words, it was supported now on the head of Ephraim. Yosef lifted up the hand, so now it's supported in his hand. Right. So that's what the word support means. Because he lifted it off the head of Ephraim, so it's supported now. Right, because again, the word Yismach doesn't mean to lift. It means to support. That's why we have to be careful when reading the English. I'm helping you with the Hebrew. You're following, right? So you'll make a mistake in understanding the words in the translation, because the translation is giving you, with Rashi's understanding of things in the context, as opposed to, and therefore Rashi's explaining that the word means here doesn't mean lifted. It means the support that was on the head of the arm that was on the head of Ephraim. He lifted it and now supported it in his hand, and then moved it over to Menashe, right?
Doesn't say that yet.
No, well, yes, it says he moved it from.
Right now he's holding in his hand.
No, that's what Rashi says, but the rest of the verse says, and he moved it to Menashe. Okay. The rest of the verse says, Al Rosh Menashe, the last words of the verse, right? Right. Vayayim Yosef El Aviv, and Yosef then said to his father, Loi Kain Avi, not so, father, my father, actually. Kizeh habachor, because this one is the firstborn. Sim yamincha, place your right hand al Raishe, on his head. Vayimain Aviv, and his father refused. V'yomer, and he says, Yadaiti bini, I know my son. Yadaiti, I know. Gam hu la'am. He too, referring to Menashe, right, who he did not put his right hand on, will also be a nation. V'gam hu yigdal, and he will also be great. Ve'ulam, however, Achiv, his brother, Hakatan, the young one, Yigdal mimena will be greater than him. V'zare yeh molei hagoyim, and his seed, his progeny, his descendants will be full of hagoyim, of the nations.
Where's his hand? Where's his hand right now? I think it's still supported. He hasn't moved yet. I don't think he put it in order to place it on his head. He's not.
Yeah,
placed
it
on
could
his
be,
head.
it could be correct. Yeah, because Imayin, he refused. Uh, yeah, so he lifted it up in order to do it, but yeah. So me. All right. Yeah, yeah, in order to do it, and yet he didn't do it. Yes.
He's supported.
Yeah. Okay. 19 in Rashi. Yadaiti b'ni yadaiti. I know my son, I know. Shua b'chor, that he is the firstborn. V'gam hu yeh la'am, and he too will be a people, b'yigdal, and will become great. Shalsi Gideon, let's say, Mimena. So you explain what's the greatness he's referring to over. Gideon is destined to come forth from Menashe. Shakodesh Baruch Hu oisei neis al yada, that Hashem's going to make a miracle, perform a miracle through him, through Gideon.
Who's Gideon?
Uh,
Who's Gideon?
he came with a force of 300 men and wiped out the Midianites' army of 135,000 soldiers. That's a pretty big miracle.
That was the
Okay.
answer.
It's in the story of Judges. Interesting, the story of Judges. Thank you, Ron, for entering because you reminded me. Today's learning, that's solved.
Figures in the bowl.
Today's learning is in the honor of the child Mordechai ben Chana Rivka, who needs a refuah shlema, a speedy recovery. Hashem grant him a speedy recovery. Okay. However, his younger brother will be greater than he. Shalsid Yeshua, let's say, because Joshua is destined to come forth from Ephraim, and he will give the inheritance and of the land, a portion of the land, Israel, and he will be a teacher to all of Israel. And his offspring will fill the nations. The entire world will be filled. B'tseis Shama Ushmai, when his reputation may go forth. Kishiyamid Chama b'Givain, when he will make the sun stand in Givain. B'Yareach b'Emek Eilain, and the moon will stand in the valley of Eilain.
Do we learn that in Chumash?
No, that's Yeshua. So you're going to learn the book of Joshua.
Sounds like an interesting.
Right, Joshua is going to do that. Yeah.
I'll Google it.
By the way, the day that he made the sun stand in Givain was Gimel Tammuz, the third of Tammuz. Yeah. Which means the sun never sets. The sun doesn't set. Okay. So, okay. Verse 20. V'yivarchem, and he blessed them. Bayomahu, on that day, Lamor, saying, B'cha, in you, Yivarech Yisrael. Well, the Israelites be blessed. Lamor, Yisimcha Elikim. And this, by the way, we say that this is what when we give a bracha to a child, to a boy, this is what we say. For a girl, we say Yisimcha Kisara Rivka Rachel Valeya. You should be like the matriarchs. But for a boy, we say it's here Yisimcha Elakim. May God place you Ki Ephraim like Ephraim, and Ki Menashe and like Menashe. Yasim is Ephraim Lifnei Menashe, and he placed Ephraim before Menashe. Right, he mentions him.
Okay.
Okay, Rashi in 20. V'chal Yivarech Yisrael. So through you, the Israelites will be blessed. Someone who comes to bless his sons, shall bless him with their blessing. And a man says to his son, may God place you like Ephraim and Menashe. And that's what we do. Right. Some people have the custom every Erev Shabbos or Shabbos um, before Kiddush to give Birchas Abanim. We have the custom every Erev Yom Kippur to give Birchas Abanim, and that's how we start out. Yisimcha Elokim, Kefraim, and Kemenashe. Huh?
I saw in Israel every Shabbat. The father would bless the.
Yeah. Yosim is Ephraim, and he placed Ephraim in his blessing, Lifnei Menashe before Menashe, Lahagdimai, to put Ephraim ahead of Menashe, the Golim in the standard barriers, right? When they were marching the tribes, right? So Rashi is saying what he means he puts before him. Like, why is the verse saying that? Obviously, because it says Ephraim before Menashe. So why is the verse now coming to say that he mentioned Ephraim before Menashe? It's redundant, right? So Rashi explains because in the future, that was a statement that it wasn't just in that moment, but in the future, when the Jewish people will travel, when the clouds of glory will start moving and the Jews travel, so they traveled, um, in a procession that Ephraim would be before Menashe. And also in the inauguration of the princes and Parshas Nosai, where there was the inauguration of all of the leaders of the tribes for the inauguration of the Mishkan or of the Mizbeach of the altar, Ephraim came before. As a matter of fact, Ephraim came. His offering was on Shabbos, which is interesting. There's a sikha on that. Okay, 21. Yosef, and Israel said to Yosef, Hine, behold, Anechi meis, I am going to die. However, God's going to be with you. And he will return you back to the land of your fathers. Vani, and I, Nasati Lacha, I'm giving to you, Shechem. Psh. Wow, that's where he's buried. Yosef is buried in Shechem, right? And there's big problems over there. Achad alachecha. The cities that are mentioned in the Torah. The cities are in Eretz Yisrael that are mentioned in Torah, Hebron, Shechem, they're all hotspots.
But who's buried there?
Yosef, today he's buried there.
Okay.
Today he's buried there, right? So I'm giving to you Shechem, Echad alachecha, one more over your brothers. Asher lakachti miyadeh, that which I have conquered from the Amorites, Becharbi bikashti, by my sword and my bow. Right. Okay, let's see Rashi on this. Interesting. Anina sati lacha, I'm giving to you lefisha ata terea, because you're going and taking the trouble itasik b'kfurasi and involving yourself with my burial. And I too have given you nachla shetikaver ba, a heritage which you should be buried in. Psh, Ezeh, Zushchem, that's Shchem. Wow. Shenemar, as it says, it's Atzmas Yosef, the bones of Yosef, Sher Alum and Mitzrayim, that the children of Israel brought out of Egypt, covered by Shechem. They buried him in Shechem. That's in the book of Joshua.
Joshua 24:32.
Yeah. Okay. Shechem, Shechem is one portion more than your brother. Shechem, mamish, literally Shechem. Hiti alacha will be for you. Chilek echad, one portion. You say it alacha more than your brothers, right? Because the rest are everybody's going to get as. So we learn in Parshas Pinchas. Every tribe got in accordance to what their needs were in the population and so on, and you're getting this one portion more. B'charbi b'kashi, what's it mean by my sword, by my bow? Kishahargu Shimon v'Levi. When Shimon and Levi, there, right? Where was the whole story that with Dinah? It was in Shechem, right? In Anshe Shechem, they killed the people of Shechem. Nis Kansu, Kolsviv Sehem. All of those around them gathered together, at least Abig Lohem, to engage them in a battle. The Chagar Yaakov Kli Milchama. And Yaakov girded himself for the weapons of war, connect them to fight against them. That's the first explanation that he's giving.
Sounds exciting.
Okay, different explanations over here with the according to Siftei Chachamim and others, that this was not at the time when Chamor violated Dinah, was this battle, but 7 years later, based on the Medrash. Interesting. Okay. Alternative explanation what this means. Shechem echad hu abachera. The word Shechem echad means is referring to the birthright of the firstborn. Shit lubanav shnei chalakim, that Yosef's sons took two portions. Shechem lashon chelaku. Shechem means a portion. Kitargumai, as Unkelis explains, chulak. There are many instances the word Shechem means a portion. It's not a place, but it means a portion. You're getting a double portion. And what's a double portion? Because Ephraim and Manasseh are getting, which is double that which of the other tribes. Ki she say Maishchem. I'm going to put a portion. He's just giving examples of here. Tosim saying lifnei echalkam. Echalke Shchem. Derech Yirtzu the Shchem. Again, it's just Ish Chelkai, Avdei Shchem Echad. So again, just giving examples, okay? That it means a portion. So according to the second, it doesn't mean the city of Shechem, literally. It means a portion. So they're getting a double portion, Yosef. Asher Lakachli Miyadem, my next Rashi, that I took from the hands of the Amorites, Miyad Esav, meaning from the hand of Esav, right? The Amorites are descendants of Esav. As Esav rejected his share in the land of Israel because he rejected the birthright, right? He sold the birthright. Yeah, that's one explanation. What it means I took from the Amorites, meaning I took it from Esav, that Esav rejected the firstborn rights. The alternative, Esav is called an Amorite, Shayatzad Avi, because he would ensnare his father, be Imre Piv, with the sayings of his mouth. In other words, he would, say things that weren't exactly to ensnare his father, to think that he is a good guy, right? And that's what it means from the Emoiri, because the word Emoiri comes from the word Emor, to say, right? So he's playing on the word Emoiri. It's got like a double meaning in it, right? It means the Amorites, which are descendants of Esau, and it means to say. So, in other words, he is acting like an Amori in saying things to ensnare his father, to his father think that he is a good guy. B'charbi b'kashti. Okay, bringing down those words again. B'char b'kashi, he b'chachmosi v'tfilosi means with wisdom in my prayer. So that's a third explanation. Boy, do we need the Rebbe's explanation over here. Because he brings it down again as a divrei amastil, right? In other words, he's quoting from the verse, even though he just did it up here. Right? He just did it. The B'char b'kashi right here, quoting from the verse, right? And explained two different explanations. One, the fight that Yaakov had with the surrounding people of Shechem, not 7 years after the violation of Dinah. Second explanation means a portion, that you're getting a portion, a portion above, not you're literally getting the city of Shechem. And the third explanation, which is a separate after an interruption, it means wisdom in prayer. Charbi means wisdom. Bikashti, right? So, hold on. This is interesting. I'm sure you're all fascinated. Uh-huh. So one of the actually we just learned yesterday in Tanya, B'charbi Bikashti. Remember? What was B'charbi Bikashti? Saying Kriya Shema at night, the double-edged sword. Right? When you say the Shema at night, double-edged sword, someone who had wasteful emission of semen, right? You need to say the Shema to fix the double-edged sword, right? So that's the idea of the Shema. I see a connection with it, just briefly. Connection is that the fixing that is necessary is connected with the chachma of the father, actually, that produces the semen. Wow. And that's wisdom over here, he's saying. Chachma. Interesting.
Footnotes are interesting too.
And Bakashti, why is that prayer? Because it could have said Ukashti, didn't have to say Ubikashti. And kash, the word bow is only the word keshet. A keshet is a sword. Why does it say and with my bow? Because it says and bow. With my sword and bow. Why with my sword and with my bow? Because then it makes it into another word, bakasha, which means request, meaning prayer.
English, it doesn't say what.
Okay. Got that?
It was interesting. 24:32. Off the land. For 100 pieces of. What's here?
Okay, let's see. Okay, let's go on these words. So Unkelis says different than Rashi. Bikashti, Unkelis translates it It's loisi usi with my prayers and my requests.
Oh, so you have spread this.
Huh?
You have spread.
According to Onkelos, yes. He says different than Rashi. So the Rebbe asks Rashi, if it means wisdom and prayer, so why doesn't the verse just say with Torah and Tefillah? Why does it say, with a sword and a bow? So he says, you could say at least b'derech remez in a hinted manner. So the Rebbe says that it hints at something over here. What's the difference between the written Torah and the oral Torah? In reference to the nations of the world.
Will do not stem the oral Torah.
Huh?
The nations of the world do not accept the oral Torah.
Right. So they know the written word, and the oral Torah is actually only for the Jewish people. Only for the Jewish people. Right? Therefore, the Torah, written Torah, which is, that the nations of the world also have access to. So therefore it says, Becharbi Bikashti, with a sword and with a bow. That when the nations of the world will come and when the nations come and they want to question our ownership of the land of Israel, so we have to battle with them with a sword and with a bow, literally, because you're not allowed to depend on a miracle. And therefore, when nations come to take away the land of Israel, we're obligated to go out, and even it's on Shabbos, they're only coming for straw. You have to go out and battle them. In other words, the Torah doesn't say Torah and prayer, because since the nations of the world who will come to you know they have access to the written Torah, so they need to know that we're going to battle for our land. Wow, how current. Onkelos, but Onkelos, and Rashi's explanation. So, in other words, got to take it literally, right? Literally meaning what? That literally, then it means that we're going to fight those who are trying to conquer us. But Onkelos and Rashi, that they're part of the oral Torah, which is only for the Jewish people. Therefore, they translate those words to mean, Onkelos says it means for prayer and for a request. That a Jewish people need to know that when they do battle, literally with weapons, and even when they are victorious in the battle, this is not through their own efforts, God forbid, but the power of Torah and prayer. Wow. Is that beautiful or what? You follow that? Ron, did you get it?
Oh,
Huh?
oh.
The verse says, right, that we won, right? In verse 22, the last verse, right? That I'm giving you Shechem, you battled Shechem, and you took it over from the Amori, the Kashi Becharbi Bikashti, but with a sword and with a bow. Rashi explains it, and it doesn't mean literally. It means with wisdom of Torah and prayer, right? Uncle, it says, means prayer and request. Well, so why doesn't Torah just say clearly Torah and prayer? Why does it have to say no? Because since the nations of the world have access to the written word, so it says with a sword and a bow, they need to know that when they are going to battle us for the land, we're going to fight. We're going to fight literally. That's what it means. But they don't have access to the oral tradition. Rashi and Onkelos. They explain it differently. In order that the Jew, because only the Jew has access to it, that the Jew needs to know that when we do go to fight the nations, right, for our land, that it's our Torah and it's our prayers that are what is the giving us the added edge that we should be victorious over them, and it's not our fighting strength that wins the battle. Is that amazing or what? Yeah.
See it fulfilled today.
Oh boy, yeah, totally. Yeah, and what's beautiful is that the soldiers in Israel today really recognize it, and the people of Israel recognize it like never before. Amazing. All right, folks. See you shortly. Again, may Mordechai ben Chana Rivka have a speedy and full recovery. Be gesund.